Hey guys, Starnish here. Today I want to go over running Mythic Zeros at a low item level, how to do so you guys can gear up in the most optimal way possible by taking on the highest item level pieces or opportunities of such first, and then filling in the blanks with whatever you can. Hope this video helps you guys out. If it does, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Now let's get into it. Alright guys, so one of the very first tips I can give you for running Mythic Zeros with really bad gear would be very simply put is to practice in normal and heroic first. Take a group of friends that you want to use. Go into a mythic or I'm sorry, a normal or a heroic, and practice that dungeon first. For your most optimal results, this is what you want to do. Understand in mythic there's going to be extra mechanics. Use the dungeon journal. It can also help you out. Figure out what mechanics are different and expect everything to hit way harder. So if people are getting hit in normal and heroic, just know in mythic things typically hit much more difficult. So they're gonna hit way harder, and the mechanics change. The mechanics become a little bit more difficult to handle. So practicing normal and heroic always helps out. Now, after you've practiced with a normal or heroic difficulty, and you want to take it, go ahead and give it an attempt in Mythic Zero. Make sure that when you do this, I would prefer, and I'd say it's a good tip to do, is take that same group into Mythic Zero, so that those practice the synergy, the strategies, they're all compatible. You understand people's tendencies a little bit better, especially as a healer. This is going to help you out a lot. So seeing how people react in normal and heroic can help you see how they're going to react in the Mythic Zero. Things to think about before going into Mythic Zero would be your team comp. I typically like to take 1 to 2 battle reses and also somebody that can lust. Lust typically will help out a lot, especially with DPS checks. Possible wiping increases the chance probability of using lust on multiple fights. And a lot of times with the low item level, DPS checks can be really hard to reach. The fights are going to last very long. So having Lust there to help push you guys through it helps out a lot. Another tip with Lust is the Lust at 30%, not the start of a fight. 30%, assuming you guys are doing very well at 30%, and you guys can Lust and get a quick kill from there. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is a notable thing is hybrids that can heal themselves, especially in Mythic Zero. Say you, depending on how low your item level is and what spec you are, the strengths and weaknesses you may have. Hybrids a lot of times can help out with healing or dispelling, especially if they can dispel themselves or dispel themselves in a tank or use Word of Glory on a tank if they're low or off heal when needed. Those hybrid classes really help out. Anything with an immunity, battle res, it can self heal, dispel. Those things come in handy a lot with Mythic Zeros. Just as much as they do in the high end Mythic Plus community, they help out with Mythic Zeros in the beginning as well. Being able to dispel and heal, like I said, is a huge plus, especially in the beginning or things happen or extra packs get pulled and you have to have no mana. Having someone that can top up somebody or help top somebody up or spell is a huge utility and something you should really take advantage of. Make sure you're using as many consumables as you can. They don't always have to be the most expensive up to date consumables, but if you happen to be a cook or have cooking or someone in your group has cooking, stamina food is never a bad thing to go for. Give you a little bit more health, help you survive, or use the optimal food. They'll give you crit, haste, burst, whatever's your best stat is, just to do a little bit more. It all helps and adds up. Any flask or potions you can use, it all helps out. Um, Survivability is huge. You need to be able to bring as much output and performance as possible with a low item level, and consumables help a great deal. The next step is making sure you're talented and everyone in your group is talented for the maximum output for PvE content. You want to make sure that your output is for healing. You want to make sure you can put out the most numbers possible. Uh, Also, that you're able to survive. So, any kind of any kind of ability that could help you survive easier. Um, as many cooldowns as you can get typically help. Uh, Expect the unexpected when you go into Mythic Zero. People are gonna make mistakes, things that hit way harder than you expect. Um, Make sure that you're bringing as many cooldowns, like I said, or big healing or big damage cooldowns that you possibly can. Output is very, very important, especially with low item level. You need to make sure you're doing as much damage as you can if you're a DPS, and if you're healing, you need to be able to make sure you keep everybody alive, and if you possibly can, do damage, because the DPS checks are very, very tight when you're low item level. I just want to go over talents and specking one more time. Uh, for undergeared, uh, pushing the limits of your capabilities, you are going to be specking probably similarly what you would in a raid for a maximum output for healing. A lot of Mythic Plus builds will give a lot of damage options or things to help utilize damage, because damage is a huge part, and it still is in Mythic Zeros when you're undergeared. However, you want to make sure your output is where it needs to be, so that DPS can focus on DPS as much as possible. And however, like I said, if you can get some damage in, that's perfectly fine. Just keep in mind that you're going to be challenged with your output. So make sure your output is you're as close and as capable as possible to reach that output limits by specking accordingly. So specking for a raid will typically give you the maximum output build, which will usually be modified from Mythic Plus. Some classes are not that way, but I know some are. So definitely go more of a output heavy spec. So don't be afraid to pick up an extra cooldown, or maybe even follow your raid spec if you think it will fit for higher HPS. And this is also something good to practice in normal and heroic. If you know, feel it's comfortable or it's doing better, then you can modify your build going into mythic. So make sure you, like I said, you respect for the highest output possible. Even though it may not be what you use when you're fully geared up, just to make sure you're able to hit all the healing checks possible for your role, and or DPS checks if you're a DPS. But this is mostly from a healer's perspective, because I healed these Mythic Zeros, and I'm going to be finishing up Mythic Zeros tonight. I've done a whole lot of Mythic Zeros. I started at a very, very low item level, and I'm pretty geared now. I'm one of the most geared people on the server. So please, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you liked it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. This was Tarnish. Tarnish out.